What is going on, guys? It's C-Brad bringing you my Patrick Mahomes mini ebook with the gun bunch quads formation as the scheme. This is going to be one of several videos I'm going to be doing this year with a mini ebook. And the player that is featured in the ebook is not the player that I recommend you use this with on Madden per se, although you definitely can. It's the player that inspired the scheme in real life. So the reason I chose Patrick Mahomes for this is that at Texas Tech, they always spread the ball out. They always pretty much threw every play. Sometimes he could take off and run with it, but he pretty much put the team on his back every single play by spreading the defense out, and I thought he'd be a good example, primed for his first year as a starter this year for the bunch quads formation, since it is a 5-wide formation technically. So we'll get right into it. This scheme is going to feature a lot of plays, considering this formation only has 6 different plays, but there are different ways to run each one. So as far as substitutions, you're going to want to put your number 1 receiver in the slot where Tyreek Hill is right now. So we're going to put Sammy Watkins there. You're going to want your fastest receiver flanked to the left. Your tight end's going to stay the same. You have to have a running back flanked to the right. And then your second best receiver will go here on the inside slot. Now it's important to note that by default the formation puts your backup halfback split out here. So if you need to, make the substitution there. And obviously you're going to want a fast pass catching back out here. LaShawn McCoy campaign is the one I used in my last video, the example, Tevin Coleman, people like that. Alright, as far as audibles, I like the audibles that they have in here by default. I like them a lot, so I don't change any, but if you want to, you just go into the plays, hit L2 or left trigger, and you can change the audibles. One thing I want to say before we get started is that people are probably already thinking that dropping 8 or 9 into coverage is the best way to stop the scheme, which is effective, as well as running quarters and dime, but keep in mind that gun bunch quads is a 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1 running back formation, and that allows you to audible into other formations of similar personnel. So if they come out in quarter or dime defense, you can hit audible and left twice to go to Trey Y flex. And this formation has fake screen wheel, it has PA crossers, it has verticals, it has inside zone, it has halfback draw, it has dagger. So all of these pass plays and run plays against quarters and dime are going to be extremely effective. So I like to change these audibles. I'll just change stick, the square audible, to fake screen wheel, and then I'll leave it like that. So if I see someone coming out in quarters after they realize I'm planning on running this formation all game, that's a nice easy audible to make, as I'll show you guys here. So they come out in quarter 137, I see it. So we're just going to audible to gun Trey Y flex. And because we have the running back flanked out right, he now goes to his traditional spot, and we can just run the ball for days on their quarters defense. And you can no huddle that as well. So that's what I do in that scenario. And with that being said, let's get into the plays. So the first play we'll go over is spot. And there's 2 ways to run this play. One way is to create a flood concept on the right side of the field, and another way is to create a double post concept over the middle. So the first way we want to run this is we'll put triangle on a streak, or you can put him on a slant to the left. You want to smart route the X corner if you can. It's not necessary though. And then you want to put R1 on a zig. And so all we're looking to do here is on the right side of the field, against a cloud flat or a purple zone, we're going to hit the zig route. Against a hard flat, we're going to hit the corner. And if for some reason they have a purple and a blue instead of a deep blue over there, we'll hit them over the top. And you can come back to the post over the middle as a last read if that's taken away. So here, corner route's open because they did have a hard flat down there. That corner route does tend to get open, especially when it's smart routed, against most purple and blue zones. So here's another hard flat. Pretty unusual for the computer, but yeah, that's an easy 25 yards. I actually prefer the adjustment of putting triangle on a streak rather than a slant, because it distracts their user more so that they don't end up running all the way to the right side of the field because they see that that's the only thing going on. But it is a worse adjustment against man, which it looks like they're in right now. So against man, you can hit the slant, or you can hit the corner route, which should not have been defended like that, but what can you do? But when I know it's zone, or I think it's zone like this, I prefer the streak because it distracts their user more. And then that was a cloud flat, so we hit the zig underneath and take our 5 yards. So super solid play, very consistent. If you want to, you can also motion the zig route out, which helps them get a little more depth and also helps it look like another play in the formation that we'll be running later on. So that's an additional little intricacy you can throw in. Now the second way to run spot is, again, you're going to smart route X if you can, but again, it's not necessary. You're going to put R1 on a drag, and you're going to put triangle on a streak. Then you're going to motion this X receiver over to the left. So now we've got 2 posts running towards the right side of the field and the drag coming across to the left. So this creates a situation where, once again, you'll see this throughout many of my videos, we are manipulating the user in the middle of the field. So they're going to have to guard the drag, or they're going to have to guard post 1, or they're going to have to guard post 2. And it's very hard for one person to defend 3 routes. So right now the drag's open against man coverage. But like I said, that's your read progression. It's going to be the drag, then the first post, then the second post. And if you have enough time, this second post is going to get in behind every sideline zone on the right side of the field. That was a match scheme. I was trying to hit square there. I just didn't have enough time. I really like this version of the play. It does look similar to another play we're going to run later, but the fact that there's a second post behind the first post is really nasty as far as someone sitting back in 8 or 9 man coverage trying to defend everything. It's really good. So I'll try to get, this looks like man coverage. We'll try to get one more example versus zone where I can try and hit the deeper post. But I'm only going to try like 1 or 2 times, and then we'll move on. So obviously this is man. We can just hit the drag. You saw the first post was open. The second post will come open. And last example here, we'll motion this guy over as such. And we'll try to hit that square post. So just pretend you're online. You run this play. He's guarding the drag. Then he goes to X. Now you got the post way downfield for an easy 35 yards. And that's why we put the tight end on a streak to run off the deep coverage for that route specifically. So this play is really good. Probably the play that I run the most. The 2 variations are awesome. Alright, moving on. I will talk about QB draw real quick. It's actually a pretty good run considering QB draws typically aren't that good. But most of the time it's just not worth it. If you really feel like running the ball, I would just audible to Trey Y Flex, like I said earlier. Sometimes you just, I don't know, your quarterback doesn't run correctly. So if you really think you can catch someone off guard, it will work if you do catch them that badly off guard, but I try to stay away. Alright, next play is spacing. This play is only supposed to be run against zone coverage, and it's only designed to get you like 5 to 10 yards. So I like to run this play on a 1st and 10 when I want to make the chain shorter. I'll run it on a 2nd and 5, 3rd and 5 when I need a first down. But it is pretty bad against man coverage. And the whole point of this route combination is to really confuse the hell out of their user in zone coverage yet again. So we see we have 3 curls here. I did the adjustments without talking about them. You're going to put triangle on a curl route, traditional curl. And then you're going to put square on a hot route and in route. If for some reason it's like 3rd and 5, and you can't put them that deep on an in route, just put them on a streak to get them out of the way. Our reads are going to be these 3 curls over the middle. And it's going to make it very, very difficult for a zone coverage to defend all of these. Of course it's man, so our read is the in route. You can also playmaker that X receiver as soon as he stops. I'm actually just going to pick a zone play here. If you need tips on how to determine whether it's man or zone, you can tell pretty easily online because usually when people are manned up against other people online, they're lined up in front of them. And so if their formation, if in this formation there's 4 defenders directly over 4 receivers on the right, it's probably man coverage. That's just a quick little tip. But I picked cover 4 here, and you can see most of the time this curl route, the deeper curl route, is going to be the one that they leave alone, which is going to result in you getting a pretty good gain for basically nothing. You can see the middle linebacker jumps on they lurked that one. I don't know why that happens sometimes and why it doesn't. I need to be smarter about my reads, but usually the middle linebacker is going to take X, they're going to let triangle go, and worst case scenario with this play, you can always hold the ball, and I'm going to show you why this play is so good, because this R1 receiver, Watkins over here, is almost never going to be usered unless you've been running this play too much, because he's kind of off the screen, not really in the chaos in the middle, and he's your best read on this play, because if you don't feel comfortable hitting X or triangle curls, you can always check down to RB, and the reason is, after he finishes his curl, regardless of the zone that's on the right side of the field, they always drop back to follow the streak more, and so you're always going to have this open window to the right side of the field unless they are in man or they have manually manned someone up on this receiver. So for some reason the coverage always drops back off of that guy late in the play, and that allows you to actually have a pretty effective check down if you're uncomfortable with throwing the ball over the middle. But like I said, throwing the ball to the curl on triangle is going to be the most yards and is going to be the most common read where someone is open, like such. Alright, cool. I like that play. It's just got very specific conditions for it to work, so I wanted to get that out there. Alright, third play is going to be inside post. This is the second best play in the formation, I think. We only run this one way, and your adjustments are going to be to put triangle on a streak again, and we're going to drag circle. So you can see we've got 2 streaks, once again running off the deep coverage, and then we've got 3 routes going over the middle of the field. So I found a problem with this play is that triangle and R1 were kind of intersecting and overlapping defenders. And so my adjustment here is you're going to motion out Watkins to the right like such. And you can motion snap him too if they're playing bump. That works. And then your reads are going to be circle and X over the middle. And then against cover 2, you're going to be able to, against cover 3 as well, if your tight end gets deep enough and you have enough time to throw, you're going to be able to hit R1 for a massive gain over the middle of the field. So and then also against some match schemes, they'll just let your tight end run free like that. So that was a 50-yard touchdown, guys, and no one was near our tight end at all. So that happens pretty rarely. It's a specific set of schemes that people can run, but that does happen sometimes where you get a free touchdown with your tight end. Now, I was talking through that last play, so I made a bad read. But you can see everything is open. We can wait for X to get really deep behind the coverage. We also had R1, and we could have taken circle as well if we were worried about pressure. We were running out of time to throw. Say they send their spy at us. Here's man coverage. Terrible throw, Patrick. We made the scheme for you, and you're doing terrible. Against man, you're going to have everything open. X, R1, and circle. So you just dot them up against man. Man's not really good against its formation, I don't think, in general. So hopefully you'll be able to dot it up a couple times and get them to get out of it. I would love if the computer would get out of it so that I could show you this play against zone. So we'll just go back into cover 4 again, since that's like the safest zone if you're wondering why I'm picking that one for examples. It's the base zone that has the most coverage, basically. So once again, we motion this guy out, and you can see the circle's wide open. Sometimes you get a block from your X receiver right after you hit circle as well. Keep in mind a spy may be lurking right there on line, so try to move your feet a little bit and get him out of the way. Maybe move to the left to get the spy to the right and then throw it past him, something like that. I'll try to show you how even against purple zones, the X route will still get in behind everything if you have enough time. The linebacker actually ran with him there, which was interesting. But yeah, you can see he gets deep enough to get behind even the purple zones to the sidelines. And then you can always hit R1 over the middle. This is cover 4, so they should never give this up in theory, but the tight end does such a good job running off the deep coverage on this route, and the route itself is just so good that we're still able to hit R1 for a big gain over the middle, or have our receiver get a concussion. But yeah, I'm trying to cut this video short enough. I know you guys say these are always too long, so I'm trying my best, but I really just want to show you what everything looks like. But yeah, this play is really, really, really good. I really like that play. Alright, what's left? Just drag under, I believe. Oh, we still have bunch trail. Bunch trail's fun. Okay. You guys are going to like bunch trail. There's 2 ways to run this as well. One is we're going to create a high-low concept on the left side of the field, much like we did with the first version of Spot. And the second way is a much more big hitter play, where we're going to be doing 2 posts. We got a trail. It's going to be fun. You guys are going to like it. So the first way I'm going to show you is the more conservative way. I run it less often, and I run it when I really need like short yardage out of this formation. So this adjustment is you're just going to put X on a drag. Now this might look weird because it looks like we already have a drag with R1, but he actually stops when he gets over the middle of the field, and once again we'll be able to manipulate a user that way. So we're going to have a traditional drag going to the left, and we're going to hit that if the sideline zone to the left drops back. If they're using the drag, we can hit R1 as he stops, and then we also have triangle that gets in deep behind all the zones if it's not usered after everything else. And then if it's a hard flat, we're going to hit that comeback route to the left. So I know that's a lot, so I'm going to try to run this a couple times against different looks. So you see they dropped back on the left side, so we hit the drag. Basically you're just reading that corner on the left side of the field against man. Once again, with everything in this formation, it's probably going to be open just by default, so don't even worry about it. Just look and see who's open. Please stop playing man coverage. I would go back out, but I want to show you guys this play against different looks of zone. So this looks like a cover 2 hard flat, which it is. So now we just dot this comeback route, which is butt-ass naked over the top of the hard flat. So that's why we keep that comeback route in. Freaking goal line. So we've got an example with the drag against sideline zones that drop back. We got an example with the comeback route against hard flats. Now I'll show you how the R1 drag stops, like that. So if they're using the first drag and that second drag stops abruptly, it's very hard for them to stop on a dime and guard both of them like you could traditionally with 2 drag routes. So that's why that's really nasty. Once again, keep in mind of the spy online will be around that R1 route, so just try to move your feet a little bit. And then obviously you have the triangle route, which I'm not going to take the time to show you, but you can see it's open. As a last read, he gets behind stuff. Just watch out for the user coming back upfield after the drag. Alright, second version of this play is the more fun version. The play that's going to get you more yards in general, but it's also more telling of what you're going to do because there's a motion. So the adjustments for this version is we're going to put square on a streak, and we're going to put R1 on a traditional drag so that he doesn't stop over the middle of the field. Then we're going to motion X over to the left just like we did with Spot, and it's for the same reason. It's so that we can turn a corner route into a post route. So now you see we've got all kinds of stuff going on over the middle of the field. This play is almost impossible to user in a traditional zone with no coverage adjustments. So that post with circle is going to be a big hitter play. It's going to be open versus cover 2. You're going to be looking for that. You've got a drag trail concept with the R1 is going to be open against soft zones on the left side. You've got the triangle if they move their user to cover the drag. And then you've also got X, which will get in behind zones as a third read over the middle past the user as well. So that looks like that was some kind of zone match scheme. I had everyone open, but I just made a bad read. But yeah, I really like this version of the play. Hopefully we can get an example where they run cover 2, and I can just show you how many yards we get off that post. Speak of the devil, that is 37 yards. So yeah, cover 2, very good. If it's a modified cover 2, which a lot of people like to run online, where they take a guy, maybe like a guy that's supposed to be on a mid-read zone, and they put him in a deep blue like a linebacker, like a middle linebacker or a safety. So they basically turn a cover 2 into a cover 3. That's going to mean that your post, your X route's going to be open, as well as your triangle route, because they have now moved that guy out of the middle of the field and into the deeper part of the field. And like I said earlier, this play is basically impossible to user without prior knowledge and good coverage adjustments. And so, man, the computer pass rush is just killing me right now. I feel like this is a recurring theme in every video, but man, I wish I had their 4-man rush. But yeah, if you're going to spend the most time on anything, I'd spend the most time on this play, because this is the most money of the money plays, I would say. This play is very, very, very difficult to stop when run correctly. And it does take a little bit to get the reads down, but as long as you're respecting the user, you're manipulating the user, and you're looking out for a cover 2 coverage, you can see that's a match, and we just end up like with the post butt-ass naked all the way across the field. No one's ever going to see that or user that. That's why it's so gross. But yeah, be mindful of the user. Look for cover 2 so that you can get that big play down the field over the middle. And otherwise, just make your reads. We got a lot going on. Here's cover 2. So we just take our easy yards way downfield, big hitter play. All right, one more play. I'm still working out the kinks with this play. Maybe I should have ended with bunch trail instead, but here's drag under. Pretty good play by itself. The one thing I like to do is to motion the tight end to the left, and that creates like this funky thing. And once again, we're going to be manipulating the user, and then you want to put circle on a traditional drag, because once again, he's on one of those drags where they stop over the middle of the field. And so your reads are going to be circle and X moving to the left, and then we're going to be manipulating the user yet again with the triangle route. So if they move, if they're playing hard flats and they move linebacker down on the X receiver, we'll be able to hit triangle deep down the middle of the field. If they're playing soft zones on the sidelines, we can hit the drag, and if we have enough time to throw, that X route is going to get in behind the sideline zones to the sideline on the left, just like it has with the other plays. So everything's open here. I don't know what this coverage is. But yeah, this play I'm still working out, but I think this version of it is nearly optimized. It's just that I feel like this play would get a lot more love if the other plays in the formation weren't so damn good. There's just so many good plays in this formation that this one kind of just gets lost, especially with the fact that we can run 2 plays in this formation, the exact same play, but we can run them 2 different ways. So essentially with our audibles, we have 6 plays instead of 4. So this play kind of just gets lost in the shuffle, but I was trying to hit X there. He would have been open. Couple more examples here, and then I will end the video. If you've made it this far, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more Madden 19 content. Like I said, I'm going to be doing more videos of this theme. There's a great read. So like I'm going to be looking at a power run scheme, and probably call it like the Ezekiel Elliott mini ebook. I might look for like a traditional like NFL passing scheme and call it the Peyton Manning or the Tom Brady or something like that, with lots of audibles and intricacies. I don't know. I got a lot of ideas. We'll see how this one goes. I didn't see anything on YouTube about bunch quads this year. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next video. Later.